shared. I did start recording now, just to give you guys a heads up. But as far as the live is concerned, it didn't start just yet. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I think, of course, now everybody wants to text. It's like, no, y'all see, I'm about to be on a show. Yeah. Okay. So, Tasia, I meant to ask you this. I didn't. I apologize. Pronounce your last name for me, please.
Milicevic.
Milicevic. Okay.
Civic.
Oh, sorry. Milicevic.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I wanted to make sure I got that right because I'm like, I don't like to say the wrong thing.
You could, you could just
normally I just say Tasia, like the first name.
That's fine. Yeah.
And you introduce as you introduce.
That's
okay. Can you tell me like the origin of your name, of your last
name? Serbian. That's my husband's last name.
Yeah. Love it. Okay.
Right.
That's really cool.
Okay, so we are going live. My camera looks really weird, but
does my background look okay?
Girl, you look fine. You look like you out in Havana somewhere, like just chilling, like
it looks good.
Somewhere we need to be. I have the hat for it, but I'm not in the space for it.
Hey, this is my office, so try to make it cute and cozy for everyone.
Absolutely. So I have it up now. I'm about to reshare so that everyone is on. T, I'm sorry. I don't think I tagged you in yours. Tasia, let me know if you were able to. Well, you may not, but it looks like it was shared.
Yeah, I hit follow.
Okay.
Share. I don't know how to. I'm sure I could figure it out with the live. How does that work?
So it's literally, if you're following, you should see it already pop up on your news feed. If you don't, you would just have to go to my name and scroll down on the news feed, and it should be right there as well. Should be. It's a big should. This is real, and it's funny because T, I really thought about doing trying the Instagram because we could do the multiple, and I'm like, it might be a little too late.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I think while we're here, I will get started. Nobody's joined yet, but that is okay. I know we get stragglers a lot, so I'm not worried about it. But I just hold on. Did you Tasia, did you actually friend request me by chance? Or did you go just hit the follow button?
Yeah, I hit the follow button.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
What's on your mind? Listen, this Facebook is
right.
Technology. Let me go to the actual app because
okay, we are up. It does show that there's a viewer, and that might be you, unless you're not on. So everyone that is joining in, thank you. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes before getting started. Thank you. It is Sunday. Feels so weird. Yeah, I was telling Tasia, this is different for us because we're not usually on a Sunday. But we didn't want this to like go too long without, having everybody really join in and check us out. So, we got about 4 viewers now. Sunday might be a good day. It might just be a good day for us.
Yeah, people are home.
Absolutely.
They're not doing anything.
Yep. Yeah. Kids are probably still outside because the day is actually nice out. Yeah. But we can get started. So, hey, everybody, it's Ebony with Everyday Melanin Magazine, and this is Mind Your Mental exclusive because it is not Monday. And I have been repeatedly told, Eb, it's not Monday. Why are you naming it still Monday on a Sunday? Y'all leave me alone, all right? So anyway, we have a special guest, but we also have Talia,
Hey
co-host
everyone.
Boo. Hey Boo.
Hello,
Um,
hello.
today with, like I said, our exclusive chat is because we had this awesome event last week, which was collaborated with Five Brown Girls, which was located at the New by P in Lawrence, New Jersey. You can find out more information on that by going to our website, everydaymelanin.com, or check it out in our bio. The link is there on our Instagram page, everyday_melanin_magazine. And this event had a lot to do with mental health awareness. And I think also at the end, you realize it just had a lot to do with how you feel about yourself as a woman. It was a event for women, by women, all ran by women. Like, that's just really dope. Like, so in all of that, we had the ladies of the event, all the guests, write down pending questions they might have had for a therapist that we had on site. Her name is Tasia. She's here with us today. Thank you, Tasia, for
Hi.
Thank
coming.
you for being here.
Thank you
Look,
for
I
having
always have in my mind that we have this clap button. So I'm clapping thinking that somebody's like, all hyped up for you. Um, but like I said, we want to thank you so much for number one, not only being at the event, for taking your time out today on this sunny, well, not sunny anymore, but this beautiful
Partly
Sunday, partly sunny afternoon. And I just want to thank you. I know Talia thanks you. We start our show off by asking how our day was. So I'm going to ask Talia first. Y'all are welcome to ask me, but I'm sure you can already tell I'm on one. Like, I'm all bouncing off the walls. I ain't got to go into too much detail. I was skating today. Y'all probably saw it on the page and everything. But T, how you feeling?
Pretty good. Of course, I don't know why, but I'm tired, but I'm good. I dipped away from Trenton for a little bit, so I feel good just to get away for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then overall, I can't complain.
That sounds like self-care Sunday stuff to me.
It is, yeah. I mean, like I started off with my I get a massage like every month now. So I
Oh.
started off with that and then try to take a nap and then left out. And
And that was it from there.
was it from there.
Well, I'm glad you did some self-care Sundaying.
Thank you.
I think I like that word better, self-care
Oh,
Sundaying.
yeah.
Because that whole massage thing, oof, I need to start finding out where
Yeah.
you go. I'll talk to you offline about
Yeah.
that. And how's your day been so far, Tasia?
so far so good. I spent the day working. So, with kids, life balance, weekends are work days for me. So I
Yeah.
work, now we're doing this. So afterwards, then I'll have a little self-care, which will probably just look like eating and
There's nothing wrong with
It's
that.
nothing.
Everyone loves to eat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So wait, you're saying you've been working. So you work 24/7, 7 days a week, I'm assuming? Like, how does your business run? Like, tell us about what you do. Like, I mean, I know I mentioned you're a therapist, but 7 days a week? Wow.
Yeah. So, well, no, not 7 days a
Okay.
week.
That's why I'm like, hold
But
on.
yeah. So I have my own private practice, which is talktherapywithtasia.com. I'm also the owner and the clinical director for TMR Mental Health Care, where I lead a team of other clinical social workers, licensed professional counselors, and therapists. Also, we offer psychopharmacology or medication management by psychiatric nurse practitioners, and we also have dietitians on the staff.
Oh,
So
wow.
TMR stands for Treat Me Right. So my goal when I started this practice was to have a comprehensive approach to mental health care.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we have all of the moving parts, just to address the whole story or person and not just the depression and the anxiety. But if food is a issue, then we talk about your relationship with food, with the nutritionist. If you need medication to cope with your symptoms, we have that option as well. So that's pretty much what I do. The practice does operate 7 days a week. We're open every day from usually 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Mhm.
But we make every therapist has their own schedule. So although we're in operation, no one works, 24/7.
Got it.
Everybody has
Okay.
days off.
Got
Uh,
it.
But that's
yeah. So,
really cool. I like the fact that it's just not medication based and you're focused on different parts because that was my thing working in like with kids who have behavior problems. And it's just like they medicate them, but then like say if their parent died, and like I remember asking like a DCP&P worker, I'm like, well, has the child had grief counseling? Well, no, because and they gave so many different
Mm,
excuses, but then you want to up their medication. So is this like if there's other parts that they're going through that should be addressed as well, not just give them medication to calm them or make them like a zombie basically for some people. So
yes, exactly.
yeah,
Yep. And, I just find with a lot of people, they're resistant to medication because of those sort of experiences and
yeah,
hearing those stories. And not every client is recommended for medication. We do have people who come in and they just have talk therapy. But if your symptoms become so debilitating that it's significantly impairing your functioning, then I would have a conversation and say, hey, this can help.
yeah,
Like for mental health, for your brain, there are medications. I think people are more likely to take it when the doctor says, hey, this is for your blood pressure, or if you're diabetic, you take insulin.
yes.
If you
yeah,
have upset stomach, you can take this for like, if you're having like
yeah,
stomach issues. But when it comes to mental health, people are like, oh no, like I can't do that, I won't do that.
mhm,
So a lot of it is a learning curve and just being educated as well. But again, we take an individual approach for each person and try to understand their story and their experiences. And if it is a kid that's having behavior issues, it's like, why? Like, how can
yeah,
we teach this kid what's
Yeah.
socially appropriate and where and how and like why, and help them understand their emotions and their thoughts and how that affects their behavior. So
yeah,
it takes a team.
yeah.
But I
And
like so like I said, it's nice to know you have a select people, a group of
yeah,
people that can come in with these different backgrounds in how a human being operates.
yeah,
Like it's not just one specific thing. Like you said, you don't focus just on the depression of a
yeah,
person or anything, because that's not all it is. Like someone could be overly happy or overly like excited
yeah,
about stuff. Like that
yeah.
doesn't always mean depressed. It just means how can you tone it down? Like maybe a little bit if
Yeah.
it needs to
In
be.
certain
So
settings, like how do you use
yes.
it in certain settings?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So no, well, I mean, thank you for introducing yourself. Um, we're gonna jump right into these questions because I feel like it flows with what we just spoke about. The first question that one of the guests wrote, a lot of these in the beginning, you guys, they are all kind of generic questions. And then we'll get into some rather juicy questions that I told Tasia I hope you're ready for, because girl, these women were not playing. They were not playing. And granted, any guys that are out there listening, understand you can always switch this up to make it fitting for you too. It's not just about the women asking, because sometimes these men have these same pending questions. They just don't know maybe how to ask it or in which way or who to go to ask it. So this first question, like I said, it's really generic. It's what advice could you give someone who is starting in that field? I guess in the field in which you are working now as a therapist, what advice would you give someone?
The best advice that I can give is to understand the importance of networking. I wish when we were at the event, that person could have like introduced themselves and said, like, I'm
Yeah.
interested in what you do, because we do host like interns at TMR. Also, we offer clinical supervision for therapists who are just starting out and they need supervision.
Hmm.
So again, it's like talking to people. Hey, what do you do? Where do you work? Oh, I need a therapist. So we have a
What
wait
they
list right
say,
now.
closed
Call
mouths
me.
don't get fed.
Exactly. So networking is everything. Also, just finding your fit, trying to, while you're in school, those different internships to know, do I like kids? Do I like adults? Do I
Mm,
want to be more out in the field in people's homes? Our population is so diverse of the different settings that we can work in. With mental health, you have social work, but you also have psychology, there's counseling, there's different majors, but we all do the same thing in different ways. So
Mhm.
it really depends on what they want their focus to be, but I would recommend talking to people in each different discipline. I'm kind of biased because I say social work is the best, only because we do have that diversity. Like I
yeah.
can work in private practice, I can work in a school, I can work in the courts, I can work,
Yeah,
Yeah.
hospitals.
wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if you study school counseling, that only leaves you with schools.
Exactly.
Um, so they have to figure out where they want to be and take it from there.
Mhm.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Good answer.
I see it the same way. So the next question is, can you be born with mental illness?
Yes, so that's a very tricky question. These days, we do a lot of, like for medication, for example, we have genetic testing that can tell us, based on your genetics, which medication would be most effective to treat your symptoms. So I wouldn't say, like, there are some conditions that if like if your mom or your dad or someone in your family they have this condition, your chances of having it are increased significantly.
Mm,
Um, but there is, not that I know of, that there's no test that can be conducted to say like you were born with this. A lot of times it's environmental. Some people can be predisposition for certain conditions, but if their environment is good, it may never happen. For example, like schizophrenia, we kind of see it
mm,
when males. It's more likely to happen with males, but then for
Yeah.
some reason, it's like once they're in their 20s. But we would see that probably someone in the family had it, but then sometimes that's not the case either.
mhm.
So that's a tough question.
Yeah, it is.
Like it really depends, but I tell people who, like, I get people who would come in and say like, hey, my dad, my father, or my mom and my grandma, they all
Mhm.
had these sort of experiences and symptoms, so I want to make sure that that's not me, and they kind of trying to
Yeah.
be proactive about it. But in a way, that's a good thing. Like you want to be mindful of, in touch with how you feel and what's
Yes.
happening with your mind and your body. And if you can
Yeah.
talk about it, that helps significantly versus some people suffer in silence. And when the family history is there,
Mm.
even more, you should be talking to someone. So,
Yeah.
You know what? I just wanted to add to that. I feel like a lot of times, and I think we might have mentioned this before, T, on one of our shows. A lot of times, people don't realize that you could still go to a therapist even if you feel like nothing is wrong,
Mhm.
just to have an open dialogue and talk through it or talk about it. And like you said, it's someone being proactive about their own feelings or being mindful of their own feelings and how they internalize maybe things or whichever. I think that's actually really great. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to probably talk to you about that because it's just knowing that you could talk through even mainly things that you may second guess your own self. That again doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you. You're
Yeah.
just that deep of a thinker.
mhm,
That maybe that conversation could probably help you sleep at night. Like that, I
exactly.
think
Yeah.
is pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then sometimes people like they come in and they're like, hey, this is kind of what's going on. And it doesn't have to be a every week consistent thing.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
want to have that support in place. Like, hey, girl, it's been a week. I need to talk.
I gotta get
And
check-in.
yeah,
Yeah.
Get check-in.
yeah. I have clients like that where, it's not, it's as needed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that goes into my next question. How important is alone time for individuals?
Extremely important.
Top tier
It's,
important.
yes, what's the scale? Like,
No scales, over the roof important.
yes, it's so important. I think it's easy, especially, when you're a parent, you have a spouse, you work, you
Mhm.
have, so many different hats that you have to wear. It's so important to make time for you because it's easy to get lost in all of that. And what your you time looks like, whatever works for you,
Yeah.
but you have to make time for you. So I like that T said she had a massage today. That's something that I do. Like I go, I have a massage, a facial,
Yeah.
and that's a couple of hours, but
Mhm.
it's enough to make me feel restored and ready to
Right.
Yeah.
take on the next week, So
Yeah.
everybody has to find what works for them.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. So you guys are pushing me in another direction to continue to make sure that I have me time. I think that was last week too when Mimi, we had a guest named Mimi on, and
Uh-huh.
she has been so adamant to make sure we have
Send us
had our me
messages and
time. She
everything.
has texted us say, "Hey girls."
Did you do this? Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you for that being an accountability partner, Mimi, if you're out there watching.
Yeah.
But
Hey, Mimi.
right. So going on to the next question. How can I make an impact on this world? Or just to make this world a better place? That's a pretty
Yeah. That's,
generic question too, but it's a
yeah.
good question to hear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because everybody wants to know where they fit in this world, So what would your, I guess, suggestion in a sense be on that?
Yes, I think that person would really have to explore their purpose. What makes you
Good.
happy? What are
Yeah.
you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where you start. Because when like, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, it's like, okay, now how do I make money off of this talent or this skill
Yes.
that I have?
Mhm.
And it's easier when you don't feel like, okay, I'm going to work. Like, this is,
That's true.
so
That's true.
for that person, I would have to ask them, what is your purpose? Like, what do you enjoy doing? What makes you happy? And how can you give that to the world in a way that is going to benefit you as well?
So,
Mhm.
what would you say to someone that may not know what makes them happy, but they're so used to making others happy that it kind of intertwines with that confusion of, I really like, they might sit there and say, I really
They
don't
don't know.
know what
Yeah.
makes me happy.
Mhm.
Like, what
Yeah.
would you then maybe say to that type of person?
So they really have to do a lot of self exploration. Like,
Okay.
how are you spending your time? So
Mhm.
I would want to know, like, run me through your day. When you did that, how did you feel? Like, are you doing these things? Do you
Mhm.
really enjoy doing these things for these people, or do you feel
Mhm.
obligated in some way?
Mm.
Yeah.
Because we could be dealing with a codependency type of personality there where a person just feels like I need to constantly do things for other people. But what are you getting from that exchange?
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah. That was a good answer for that one.
Right. I'm sitting here like, man, these are some great questions, lady. Like for real. So, this kind of I think goes into the exploration of finding out what someone like really likes and everything. What kind of advice would you give to someone that might be too shy to get out into the world? Because some of these questions that are next are about being shy and not being able to be open, and maybe not be able to speak what's on their mind or speak their piece or anything like that. Like, what would you say to those people, those that want to go out again, making new friends, making new business partners or what have you? What kind of words of encouragement, I guess, would you give them?
Yeah, so that's something that is not easy. It depends on, how old is this person, If you've been
Yeah.
so introverted your whole life, is definitely more difficult to come out of your shell. And there's nothing wrong with being shy. Like I tell people that all the time, but when it's standing in the way of you getting the things that you need or that you want, now it becomes a problem. Like
Yes.
everybody is not that person that's going to be like, hey, I'm Tasia, nice to meet you. Like, what do you do? And again, those people may, because they verbalize what they need, they may get what they want more often, but shyness doesn't necessarily exclude you from things. So I would want to know from that person, like, how does being shy impair you? Like, what's going on, or what are you not getting because of your shyness? And if the question is, I think they were saying, like, how can they make friends? Like, attending those kind of events that we went to last week is a
Right.
great start. I always tell people doing something consistently. Like if you like to work out, that's a start. Go to the same class every Friday at 3 o'clock. You're going to see the same group of people
Yes.
and you'll meet, new
Yes.
people. I think because of COVID, a lot of people are just right now feeling lonely. I've been hearing that a lot, where there's no place to go. There's really not much you can do. So if you're already an introverted person, some people are like loving it. Like, yes, I don't feel
Right.
forced to do things.
The world is closed.
Yes. But then you got some people who are struggling because
Yes.
they can't be home. Sitting
Yes.
with themselves is too difficult to do. So it can go either way. So like for that person, I would want to know, how does being shy stop you from getting the things that you want? And that's what could be worked on, like in therapy.
I
Yeah.
like that answer.
Like another thing I would say to them is, because we've had the pandemic, I would say that there's so many Facebook groups now too, that if you jump into a Facebook group, like you never know like who you're going to meet. Like I just met just throughout the years, like even before like COVID hit, I've met some great people just through social media. So like you never know who you are going to meet just through, if it's a travel group, if it's like a art group, or
There's
like
a community for everyone.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
community for a lot of people. So I would like encourage them too, to maybe if there's a Facebook or like an Instagram group, like you're interested, follow it, and you never know like who you will connect with.
Yeah, because making friendships always starts with a common interest, right? So even if I see you and I'm like, I love that hat, where did you get it from? I shop
Right.
there too, like
Right.
that's how you start to build with people. So that's an excellent recommendation. If the group is about traveling and you love to travel, but you don't have nobody to travel with, you better believe there's gonna be somebody in there like, I don't have anybody either. Let's do it together.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will add to that. I feel like with all these, if you have a common like with someone, jump in their DMs, y'all. Don't be disrespectful, but literally, if you know that you don't see them in public, but they're always rocking something that you like in their pictures, don't be afraid to hit them up in their DMs and be like, you know what you had on is really dope. Like, keep it up. Like, the words of encouragement.
Yes,
Yes.
to women, because they're so afraid to do that with
Yeah,
each other. So it's okay to do that. Like
it really is. It really is. And you guys have no idea how much it will take that load off of your own shoulders and also make somebody else's day. Like,
Exactly.
I love that. Y'all might even see me in all y'all DMs this week. Don't be alarmed. I'm just chiming in. So this kind of still goes with how to be, I guess, more open and less shy and everything, but it's more towards the relationship aspect. And the question is, I'm always having issues with men who think they can take advantage of me. And every time I speak up, I get blamed for it. Why is that? So it almost sounds like someone getting shut down or starting to become shut down more, which is probably a cause to them being not shy, but just timid, or I'm good. I don't, but it sounds like they want to be more verbal in a sense. What type
Mhm.
of, I don't want to say advice, because I know you can't really make anyone do anything, but what would you say?
something.
Yes, to that person, because the key word was always, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would want to know, like, what kind of guys is she dating? What's the pattern there? It could be the choice of men. It could also be something within herself of just having a problem with being assertive. And I would need to know, when she does say something, what exactly happens? Like, what is their response? What,
Mhm.
just to make sure she's getting like an accurate read on it, you know, because sometimes people say, oh, this happened to me, and they kind of blow things out of proportion. And it's like, well, what does that mean to you? What does that look like? And then we can work with that. But it's very important to just be in a healthy relationship to where you can say what you need to say and know that you're going to be heard and seen by your partner. Like, that's very important. So I think if you don't, like, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And you get some people who say, let's see how red can this flag get before, it's time
You're
for me
right,
to
though. They're so testy. There's a lot of us that are testy out here.
Um,
you
so
know.
today, Tasia, I had it was something that I reshared like on Instagram, and it was about like all these, that like men are out here like taking their women out on days, they're supporting their dreams and their visions, blah blah blah. And then I think it was something of like, and here I am dating or talking to like someone like who's inconsistent. So it was just like, so I put something of that struggle love, like people thrive in struggle love
It's a
versus,
comfort.
yeah. So I mean, I guess it's like a side question, like how do you help people to like a tip or like something that you would like guide them to not look at struggle love as something that they need to be doing, and start, well, not really like seeking like real love, but like knowing that they can receive like real love from others.
Hmm. I think what love looks like and feels like is going to be different for
Mhm.
everyone. So the question would be, why are you drawn to things that are like toxic, right? That's like a word that I see a lot.
Uh,
Yeah.
So it's like, what about this keeps you in it? Now you get some people who like the struggle love is all they know. Like, that's normal. If we're not arguing, fighting, and breaking up, making up, then I don't want that, you
Want
know?
that.
So it's it all depends on the person. But I would say if that's problematic and you don't want to be in that, then it's like, well, again, looking at the patterns, like, why do I keep choosing or dating the same people and
yeah.
getting the same results? Like, maybe I got to look at myself and do something different,
Yeah.
you know? And sometimes it's not the person, the other person.
Right.
Sometimes it's us, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're
The
absolutely,
hard pill to swallow because you got to do
yeah.
self reflection.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's
damn,
like,
it must be me.
yeah, if you keep getting the same outcomes, it might
Yeah.
just be you sometimes, you know?
Insanity. See, that was a good follow up question, though. I like that. And I saw that post too, and I was like, struggle love, man. Struggle love. I could relate. But to kind of and to talk about love, right? Another question was, how do you know when someone is right for you? And it's weird how this question is, because it makes so much sense in a weird way. How do you know when someone isn't right for you, even when they say they love you?
Mm,
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know, what I feel from this question is mainly someone's looking for almost like a validation, in a sense of, okay, do I stay with you because you said you love me, but like, are there the actions that follow up behind it and things in that nature? This person sounds a little conflicted in that. And I guess they're asking what, like, how to know, like, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's the feeling, the inside feeling.
Hmm. Yeah, I think if, they have to ask that question, they already know, you know,
That part.
um,
That
because
part.
saying and doing is very different. So you could say whatever, but if you're not showing me and your behavior is not matching what I'm feeling, then you know the answer, right? So it comes
Yeah.
back to earlier, like, what does love mean to this person? What is that supposed to look like? And if your partner is not doing that for you, then they don't love you,
mhm.
or maybe they're idea of love is different, but that's something that they need to talk to each other about, because some
Right.
people, I know another thing that I see all the time online is, what is your love language? That's really popular right now. And being able to say to your partner, like, this is what makes me feel loved,
Mhm.
and this is what I need you to do or to say. And if your partner's like, well, I don't want to do that, then you're not a good fit for each other. We all are, when we're in relationships, not everything you want to do with your for your partner, but when you love them, you bend,
You
right?
bet.
You make
Yeah.
exceptions, as long as it's healthy. So
Right.
I think if they have to ask that question, you need to bring that back to your partner and say, this is what I need to feel loved.
Yeah.
Or I don't think you love me because of this, this, this. And again, it could be a situation where that person needs to look at themselves to see why they feel that way. Because I've seen situations where the partner does everything, but this person is just like, I don't feel like I'm in love. So that's a you problem. It's not
Yes.
It's not a
anything that they're
talent.
doing. So
Mhm. And yeah, I think T, you were saying kind of goes back to like a feeling of when you, I guess when you know that you have someone, again, they could probably be wholeheartedly like involved in it, whatever, but if it's almost like that self-sabotaging thing.
Yeah.
If they're doing everything, but yet you're still stuck on, but I like it probably better, but why do I like it better when they're fighting me to do it? Like
mhm. Yep.
rather than just graciously, okay, I'm gonna do this for you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than really receiving. But that yeah. That's a whole word in itself. It's crazy because this next question can go two ways. There's actually two of the same but slightly different. Um, so I'll start with this one. It says, how do you change your attitude from not wanting to I must do?
Mm.
Um, girl, I'm gonna let y'all have that. That one is all you guys.
Yeah. For me, it's always why. Like, what do you want to accomplish and what is the motivation?
Yeah.
If a person feels like they can't do things, then the motivation is probably not there. So we have to look at the purpose. Like, why do you want this? You
Yeah.
know, I would need to know exactly what they're trying to accomplish. But for anything, like if the motivation is not there, it's not going to get done. Your
Mhm.
why has to be important because that's going to motivate you. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
what you feeling, T.
No, I mean I agree with Tasia that why is very important. And then like I would say to people who may try to push, say they do have an idea and there's people surrounding them and they're giving them, like and they're trying to push them and they're trying to motivate them.
Mhm.
There's only so much that you can do if that person is
Absolutely.
ready. So
Mhm.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's true.
yeah.
Yeah. I think sometimes too, when people aren't motivated or they're like isolating themselves and they can't get out of bed and it's looked at as laziness, but maybe this person is struggling with something else. It could be
Yeah.
depression, right? So it
Yeah.
all, like, that's a very in general question, but I
Mhm.
would just want to know, like, what's stopping them from achieving their goals? Like, what gets in the way? Is it like I never feel like I'm in the mood, or I just don't know where to start? Like, sometimes people have big goals, right? And I always say, let's try breaking it down and making these goals smaller and achievable.
Yeah.
Because you say, well, I want to get rich. Okay, well, how you going to do that? Like, you got to have a solid plan. Like, this is
Yeah.
what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes people just have these goals and they're so elaborate, and it's like, that's impossible. There's 24 hours in a day, but how can we make these goals smaller? Okay, this month I'm going to accomplish this. Within 6 months, this is what I want to see. How are we going to track that progress to know that you're moving in the right direction? And eventually you'll go from, like, I can't, I won't, to I did it, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's a testimony story.
Mhm.
I would love to, like, whoever you are out there looking to, I mean, if it's pursuing your dreams that had this question, whatever it is, I really can't wait to see. I may not know who you are, but I feel like in all of this, I can't wait to see what flourishes from just getting some type of affirmations today based on just knowing that you're not lazy, but again, to understand the why, as Tasia is.
Mhm.
Starts within you.
Yep,
Yeah.
So that's my
absolutely.
company's name
Say
too.
it again, girl.
Right. And I really try to put that at the ending of everything. Confidence starts within you, just so that they can just start to get that in their mind as,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
it
Say it to
really-
yourself daily. Make
yeah.
a mantra of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have
And
to.
just set realistic, achievable goals. So
Yeah.
Key right there.
So, whew. These next set of questions, you guys, I'm actually going to prepare you for them because I don't want to just flow into this. I got to give a whole little story. So, what we're going to do today is, all right. These questions get a little deep. So I just want everyone to know that's listening and that's watching. And even if it's you that wrote these questions, we are not here to judge. We are not here to shun you away or anything like that. If there's anything further you obviously would like to know or need to know, or feel the need to reach out for Tasia, at the end of this all, she'll give her information again. If you were at the event, I believe you got a card and everything within your gift box. But again, for those that are now watching that were not at the event, feel free to reach out to her. I'm pretty sure if she can't, she'll direct you to, again, one of her team members that can assist and help you with this. So without further ado, these next questions kind of are all, again, same generic. Um, it starts with how do you deal with childhood trauma, but I'm going to continue that because the next two talk about childhood abandonment or abandonment in their childhood. So both are technically within the same realm in a sense, a childhood trauma of maybe abandonment or however you want to separate the two. Maybe we could just sit here and talk about that a little bit, and maybe touch base on the abandonment first.
mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think what's important in those cases, like when people come to me and they're like trying to figure out, you know, why, like this happened to me. So this must be why I'm like this. Everybody's like a therapist in their own right and they know their own
It's
story.
self-medicating.
Self-medicating, yes. And, when they say like, oh, like if there is abandonment issues, I like to look at how is that affecting you today? Like, how is that playing out in your relationships? Like, and when we look at relationships, it's not just your intimate relationships. Like, I want to know about your relationship with your friends, your family, your relationship with work, like what, all of these different aspects of your life. Like, how does what you experience as a child affect you in present day, if it does at all?
Mhm.
Because some people, they think that that's a factor, but sometimes it's not. But if it is, it's like how, and then how can we address that? um, Abandonment can be, some people have a difficult time building relationships with new people because they're afraid they're going to lose them.
Mm,
So when someone's being nice, it's like, again, that word you used earlier, self-sabotaging. Like, I'm gonna do something to end this before it even turns into something because I can't trust that you're gonna stay.
right.
So it's like that. I love you, but I'm gonna do things to push you away because I can't trust my own self, my own feelings to believe that this is like real.
Right.
So
Mm.
it's
Whew. That was deep.
it's like abandonment is difficult to deal with. But again, like the start would be, how is that affecting me now? And how can I address that so that I can move forward? We can't do anything about the past, but if
Right.
we can identify that that is why you're having trouble today, then we can work with that.
So, if I'm not cutting anyone off here, I just want to ask, when it comes to children, if it's something as an adult, that we may see, or in what ways do you think as an adult we can attempt to prevent that child from feeling, oh, well, why are they always leaving me, or oh, why are they always, because kids, it's funny, they tend to obviously act out on different things when they're feeling away because they don't know how to, again, act on those feelings.
Mhm.
What would you say to maybe a parent, or again an adult that may be around children, could be a teacher in a
Mhm.
sense, to help that child, that way when they become an adult, they're not again dealing with the abandonment issues?
Mhm. I think, these days, like therapy is pretty much accessible to most people. And when children are kind of going through those things that are traumatic, they lost a parent, they are going through like their parents getting divorced, being bullied at school, those
Mhm.
sort of situations, they really should be, the best thing a parent can do is giving them a space to talk to someone about it. And also, sometimes, like, depending on the relationship with the child, they'll talk to their parents,
Yeah,
but sometimes we're just too busy, they're trying to say something, we're not listening.
yeah.
My 6-year-old the other day, she had a pencil or something and she was trying to show me, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then a few days later she had the same pencil and she was showing me how it works, and she was like, oh yeah, I got this at tutoring because I did a good job this week, and look how it works. And then she said, I was trying to show you the other day but you weren't listening to me. And I was just
Oh,
like, oh, like my heart,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
said, like, anytime you need mommy's full attention, just say, mom, I need you to listen to me, because
Words. Yeah.
sometimes kids just, oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
they get
it's
so, I don't know who's calling. You see these people calling at 6:46 to schedule a session on a Sunday.
okay.
Um, so when she said that, I just felt bad because I'm like, we get so busy that sometimes your kids feel like they don't want to bother you, right? Like, I
Yeah.
see that you're doing this, so I'll just like keep it to myself.
Mhm.
And that can become a problem. So I
Mhm.
think as parents, we just have to be like willing, like if like your kid said this happened,
Yeah.
or listening to them, but also saying like, do you want like somebody else to talk to, and creating that space for them.
Yeah. That's something I had to learn because again, like I was a case manager in the group home. I just left it in February. But that's something with my daughter that I had to realize that I was always running if they called or a text, I would run back, to make sure that they were good. But then my daughter who's 13, she needed me as well. So with this other position that I'm doing, she was like, is this going to go back to like it was, because I had to leave for like a few hours. But if a woman's having a baby, then I have to go. But the only good thing is I don't have to be there every single day. It's just for the moment. It may be 4 hours, it may be 8 hours, but that's it. you
Yeah.
know but it came back again. It was 2 weeks ago. She was like, is this how it's going to be like the old job? But so that can segue like into the trauma, and her mind is like, okay, like you left that job, but is this job going to do the same exact thing? So
Yeah.
it's us just being mindful that they are little people and they have feelings. And
Mhm.
I like the key words that you said, Tasia, that you told your daughter, like say, hey, mommy, like I need, because sometimes as parents, we're working and we're like, mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
All the time. And they'll
Oh,
tell you you didn't even look.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll
Yeah.
call you out on that. But it's
Mhm.
just being open that even like the smallest moment of just looking at a pencil, that means the world to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it won't be when she's 16. Well, I tried to show you my pencil bag at 6 because they remember all of this.
Yes, they do.
Comes back to that single, you didn't look at my pencil.
Yeah.
Like,
The small things become the big things, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like I said, if you need me, mom, I need your full attention. I
yeah.
need to talk to you, and I will drop everything,
Mhm.
like just say the words.
Right.
Yeah. But I think too, like with your daughter, like what she's probably trying to say is that she wants to spend more time with you, right? So I would offer something like maybe we have a day, or
Mhm.
like something that we do just us, so that she feels like she's getting that time. So when you go to work, it's like, okay, I know me and mommy's gonna have our time
We gonna have our time.
on, you
Look,
know.
mommy might get that call, but I know right now it's my time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely do want to feel important. That's
Yeah,
for
they do.
sure. And just to add on, it's so crazy because I was telling T how it's weird because I think my middle daughter or middle child, she's transitioning from being like the younger girl to now she's getting a little bit older and starting to feel different things and
Mhm.
having different emotions. And it's like, okay, my baby is either she's just not defiant, but she just don't want to hear it or don't want to anything. Does she just need a hug? Like, so it's a lot of different things that would make you feel like, okay, did I do something in the process of changing how she is towards me, or is it literally just her growing up? So just this week, which was so amazing, I want to say she just came out of nowhere and then just came back in, like giving the hugs or playing or sleeping next to me, and I'm like, okay, my baby's back. But I also understood that I needed to make myself available because I too was not very available, whether it was mentally, physically, emotionally, I wasn't there. And I'm seeing that could, play a big role in our children in general. So when it
Mhm.
comes to, again, that abandonment or trying to prevent childhood trauma, whether it be in your own kids or just, for anyone out there that might see it for someone else's kids, I think it's just a matter of us as parents being present at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. And our kids definitely feel when we're not in the mood or we
Mhm.
need something. Like I know if I'm tired and I'm laying down, my 2-year-old like comes, give me a hug or a kiss. Like, you okay? And I'm like, she's just so cute.
Mhm.
But like she knows, like, oh, mom must be tired. You go to
Yes,
sleep. Like they know,
yes,
So when we're not in a good space, they're able to read that. And
yes.
again, it's like they learn from us. So teaching them how to communicate and recognize their emotions and to label them and to behave like as a result in appropriate ways is like so
Right.
important. Just making sure that they don't feel like they're in this world all alone.
Yeah, that's very true.
It is. So with that, this goes into a topic of how do you stay connected to your adult children that seem to be distant. So I kind of think that sort of goes hand in hand with what you just said, um, because it's talking about also bridging a gap between disconnection in a family or disconnected family, so to speak.
Mhm.
That kind of takes the range a little bit different too, or for different terms. So I think we answered the child part. So maybe we could talk about disconnected family. Maybe it could be a cousin, it could be aunt, uncle, grandparent, something in that nature. How do you, again, and I'm going to take it to the adult person. What would you say to that person that's trying to reconnect or rekindle something? What steps can they maybe take?
Yeah. I mean, it will all depend on the reason that the
Yeah.
disconnection has occurred, right? So did something happen that led these people to kind of cut you off? So if that's the case, it's starting with first just accepting that they are where they are, and asking them like
Mhm.
what do they need in order to repair this relationship, and just trying to understand like why is it broken to begin with. I actually see that a lot, and that's like a tough situation or a place to be in. Like some people as they get older, so let's say they had children but they worked all the time, they were too busy for their kids, they're like, oh, but I gave them everything and they have a good life because of it,
Yeah.
but you never came to my graduation, all of my important
That's
events, like you weren't there, so now I don't care, like thank you, but uh
Next.
they never got to like know
Yeah.
their like child, and now the child's an adult, and it's like, well, I have no interest in doing something that we should have been doing for the past 30 years, you
Yeah.
know. So if it's that sort of situation, it's really giving in to that person and saying like, hey, this is what I want, this is why it's important to me, and like, how can I, like, where can we start, you
Mhm.
know? Because if I'm the person that wants to repair it and Eb is like, no, I'm not interested,
Mhm.
it's not
Yeah.
going to work. So first we need to gauge if they're even on the same page and it's something that they both want. And if they don't, you have to respect that, you know.
And you guys, this doesn't just go for families, it goes for
Everything, yeah.
everything.
Everything. And I think sometimes too, what I see is like some kids just get older and they don't want to hang out with mom and dad anymore. And that happens. That's natural. You want your kids to kind of become independent and function in the world without
Right.
you. But
Until they start, it's like, hold on.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe done left.
Mhm. And in those cases, it's, you know, penciling in time. Like, I know you're busy, but this is important to me. I want to see
Yeah.
you. Let's grab some dinner. Let's see a movie. Come over. Let's like whatever you enjoy doing
Yeah.
with your family or your kids. It's communication. It's like, I need this. What also happens later in life, like when you don't have to be like mom anymore. Now the kids are grown, they moved out, you
Yeah.
have the empty nest. Like, what am I
yeah.
supposed to do? Like, being the mom was my whole life. Now I
Yeah.
gotta find a new purpose.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot. But again, it's communication, not putting your feelings onto other people, and just meeting them where they are. Like, if you have a solid relationship, they're not going to have a problem with spending time with you,
Right.
right? Or fixing that relationship. So I think whoever asked that question is probably more of the something happened and they want to make amends but don't know how. So the best way to start is to ask that person, what do they need, or what are they even willing?
That sounds
That's
good.
it.
That sounds real good. The next question is, should a parent consider another parent's location when moving with their children, i.e., they're trying to make a better life and change their environment? So I'm assuming this family is separated or what have you. Um, I mean, if I can answer real quick, it should be considered under I won't say a lot of circumstances, but some circumstances. It should be considered basing it off of the relationship of that parent and the kids. But that's where I'm gonna stand.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you. It should be considered, and it all comes down to communication, right? So, how active is this other parent, like emotionally, mentally, financially?
Mhm.
Um, like, how connected are the kids? Because it's, if you're doing everything alone,
Yeah.
then it's like, well, I have to do what's going to be best for me. And because you can't give from an empty cup. So, if moving is going to provide more stability, more security, a better environment for your kids to be raised in, then I would say definitely you have to move. And if the person wants you to stay, it's like, well, how can we work together so
Mhm.
that I can have everything that I need to be the best mother to these kids?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good answer.
And
Yeah.
it takes,
I just think that certain parents too, whether they're involved, don't be selfish. That if a parent does want to move out,
Mhm.
even if you are involved, because some people just say no, like the kids can't go just because they just want to be selfish. Like it's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just no. Like, but they're trying to keep control. Uh,
Yeah.
so
yeah. I mean, these days the possibilities are endless. I would say, well, if the kids gotta stay, I gotta go. So I'll see.
yeah,
Right. Sometimes you have to make
sometimes
that.
you have to be
Yeah.
like that. Sometimes, like
Yeah.
especially if you have a good opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want
Yeah.
to be say they got the opportunity in their 30s, but then okay, and they still have young kids, but then now they turned it down, and then they get into their 50s and they're still thinking about,
What
dang,
they left.
what if
Yeah.
we would have taken that 20 years ago? You
Yeah.
know, so like you said, sometimes you just have to do it. Just you know.
Yeah, it's having that open, healthy communication. It's like,
Mhm,
here, this is how our life is going to be better if I make this change.
mhm.
I'm going to earn more money. I'm going to be happier. I'm going to, and I think when people talk that way, not just I'm trying to take the kids and keep them away from you and you're never going to
Yeah.
Right.
see them again, like that's very different. But having that communication and explaining why, and even if it's going to be temporary or if it's going to be whatever, like maybe that person can consider moving as well. Like it
Mhm.
all depends. Like they would just have to really know the pros and cons of each, and if the pros outweigh the cons, then you have to do what you have to do.
Yep.
Whoever you are out there, I pray that this all works out for you for the best, though, and you
Yeah.
find some type of common ground. We
Yeah.
know it ain't easy, but
Yeah.
I'm with you ladies on this. Do what you got
Mhm.
to do.
Mhm.
Look, sometimes I might even be speaking to myself. So the last question, well, not last question. There was actually a question that was posed in the comment section, so I'll make sure I add that on after this one. So from the event, the last question that was from the guests is, how do you deal with the death of your son when it's your fault? How do you deal with guilt?
Mm,
So, um, if I could just add, there's there's two things that I feel this person is literally blaming, number one, themselves for that kind of, it makes me sad because, I don't know, it just really makes me sad to see someone say when it's your fault, like them literally taking all the blame on something as huge as, again, I know I'm spiritual, but something that God has, like, or depending on what the
What
situation
the
is, it could have been something.
situation?
But
Yeah.
yeah, um, I- that whole fault thing. I don't know. I'm trying not to get emotional, but I'll let you talk because I had something and then I lost it because it's like that fault thing is making me feel very sad for them in a sense,
Mhm.
because that's a lot of a burden to put on oneself,
mhm.
especially when it deals with the death of someone of your own. So,
And then you
Yeah,
have to know what was the death cause of it. Like, were they in
yeah,
accident? And did the parent try their best, but they may feel that they didn't do enough, even though they probably put them in. So it's yeah. So I'll pass it on to Tasia because it could be.
right.
yes. It's very hard. That's a difficult question to answer because again, we don't know the circumstances, but I feel like if the person was at the event, I don't know. Um, Not to say like I don't know how it would be their fault. I'm thinking it's not something that
They actually.
uh where like I don't really know how to like
Yeah.
answer. I don't want to say like it's not their fault. I don't know like what what the circumstances are, but that is a very heavy burden to carry. Just feeling guilt, and that's something they should definitely be talking about and processing, and just like understanding how they feel and how they can move on, because to feel that every day,
Hmm.
that's very like grief is already very complicated, but when you
Yeah.
involve like your child and you feel like they're not here because of you, like that's a lot, that's heavy. So I would definitely tell them like they should definitely be calling, not tonight, but
Girl, that might have been that call earlier.
yeah.
They're
Not
like, I know
tonight.
she's about to get to this question. Let me just call real quick and see.
Yeah. Like when you answer my question, but
Yeah.
I do feel sad for them too. That is very heavy, and grief is complicated. Like, that's not easy. That's something that they will live with as long as they live,
Yeah.
feeling that way. So, they definitely should be in therapy and talking about it at the
Yeah.
very.
It's funny because if I can add, uh, so I had a cousin who was like a brother to me commit suicide when I was in high school. So he was a senior, I was a sophomore, so
Mhm.
about 15, 16 years old. And that was the first time I've ever been, I guess, introduced to what suicide was in the first place. Um, the night before, or it might have been 2 nights before, one of the two. I remember it was me, my brother's girlfriend, my boyfriend at the time, and we were about to go to the movies. And he came over excited to be around us and wanted to hang out and everything like this. And I know this is totally different, but again, to feel like you're holding on to something that you were the cause of. Um, we were like, oh, well, like, I remember saying it. I'm like, we'll be back. Don't worry. We'll come back and hang with you as soon as we're done this movie. Because I didn't want him to feel awkward being the fifth wheel. And that that burden that I know I held, I never really got the chance to talk more about it to my brother. It's funny because I feel like I should after this, just to see where his headspace was. But that amount of guilt I held, and I know a lot of other friends that he had held, thinking, oh my gosh, why didn't I allow him to come? Maybe if he came, he wouldn't have did this, he wouldn't have did that. So for me then at a young age, I did feel like I had a hand in why he did it. And we'll never understand why people do when they commit suicide and everything. But it's to go back, that burden alone to carry, I don't
Well,
wish that on anybody.
yeah, people should, if you feel some way, ask for forgiveness and
Absolutely.
and then work on it. And sometimes the forgiveness is not, for that person particularly, it's just for you to work through the healing of
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
that. Because I mean, I will admit, even for myself, I told a couple people Friday night, I'm not doing well. Nobody came to really check on, like, I verbally said this, or I texted. Nobody, came out, but then I dealt with it on my own. And what I did was I turned my phone off Friday night, so I can sit, but some people don't have that capacity of, I'm hurting right now. But sometimes you do say it and then people don't do anything, especially if you're the strong one. If
Yeah.
you're the one that's strong or always happy and uplifted, some people do not know how to handle when you have a moment. And it could just be a couple hours of having a moment. I'm not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I would say for whoever, just do the forgiveness. But if somebody is acting different, or even if they verbally say something that's kind of off, really check in and
Mm-hmm.
ask
Mhm.
certain questions. And you may have to ask a couple times, but just do it. And don't, I mean, just try to work on, don't put everything on your shoulders, because everything is not your fault. It's,
Yeah.
And
it's
sometimes too, this is why I say everybody should have a therapist. Right.
Mhm.
I'm not just saying that because that's what I do. But sometimes you don't want to feel like you're a burden to the people around you, right? But if I'm your therapist, that's my job. You pay me to
Yeah,
do that. So it's like it's never a burden to me. It's like, wow, I'm glad you shared that. So like now we can, I can support you. Because the
yeah,
thing is with family and friends, like they don't have that training. When you say that, it's not that they don't want to help. They don't know what to say. They don't know
Right.
what
yeah,
to do. So like T said this, but okay, like what
yeah.
now,
What
And I
now?
would say if you're on the receiving end of that, it's like, T, what do you need? Like, is there something that I can do? Like sometimes it's just listening. You don't have to say anything. It's
Mm-hmm.
what do you need right now? Like, do you want me to come over and,
Yeah,
just be with you? You want to go, whatever. Like
Yeah.
everybody's needs are different. But I think when people get to that point of wanting to commit suicide, that's because they feel like that burden and just feeling like they're alone in the world and nobody's going to care anyway if I'm
yeah,
not here anymore. But listening to people again, like I feel like everyone, they don't have, like we were talking about earlier, like saying like, hey, I need to go out with you
Yeah.
guys because if I don't, this is what's going to happen. But
no,
unfortunately, like he didn't do that, and you guys can't blame yourself
blame
for
yourself.
that. You have no way of know, like you didn't know. Like if you knew that, you would have not let him out your sight if you knew that
Exactly.
was gonna
Yeah,
happen. So
yeah,
definitely can't blame yourself. But like I said, if when somebody reaches out and say like, hey, I'm not well, it's like, what do you need? Like, is there something that I can do?
Mhm.
Like, here's some like resources you can like call this number or talk
Mhm.
to this person.
Mhm.
But again, a lot of times people just don't know what to say. I
Yeah.
deal with that quite often, and sometimes it's not that a person wants to hurt themselves, like they just need that additional support and that
Right.
attention
Mhm.
Right.
right now. And by the time after we talk, they're like, I feel better,
Exactly.
because you
Mhm.
listened to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
All you got to do is be some ears.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like to be the plug on certain things, especially when we mention suicide and stuff. So you guys, if you know anyone that's out there, suicide hotline, 1-800-273-8255. I'll make sure that I also post this because I like to post it a lot. Again, this is reason to why I'll be real. This is reason to why we have this show in the first place is to give
Mhm.
people that platform, that voice, or to feel like they have a voice. I almost feel it's so weird because I almost feel like T and I will come on here and we may not even know we're telling stuff that we might have been feeling, and we're getting the back end, or not even back end, but just again the receiving line is like,
Mhm.
so what made you feel that way? Like
Yeah.
it's really great dialogue, and if we can help somebody, I mean, this is it right here. Tasia came on to give you guys the lowdown on a lot. Again, I don't know about y'all, but this is great. This is really wonderful. But again, I'll have the information for the suicide hotline. There is one more, like I said, question that I saw in our comment section, and it says, "How can a person forgive themselves for the hurt they may have inflicted on others while trying to help?" So this is slightly different from that last question I just had, where the person felt like they're the cause or at fault for a death of someone. This person sounds like they're inflicting some type of hurt or pain on someone trying to help them.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, like what I said a few minutes ago, like you can't help somebody if they're not ready for that type of support that you're trying to give them.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that someone is suffering, it's asking, what can I do? What do you want? And sometimes, depending on the person's mental capacity, they may not even know what's best for them. Or sometimes you make decisions for people and then it just doesn't go the way that you thought that it should or it would.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we're talking about a child, that's like difficult because sometimes as parents we just have to make decisions. But I think as long as you realize like, okay, that's not working out, I'm gonna make a change right now and do something different, that's
Yeah.
all you can do. But again, treating them like people. I messed up, I'm sorry. You teach your kids when you make mistakes, you make them right?
Yeah.
You talk about it. So, and if we're talking about an adult, then it's again just having that communication. I messed up. I feel bad about it. Like, how can I make this right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being genuinely,
Be genuine about it.
yeah, because a lot of times
Hmm.
people will say it, but it's just to sound good.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. If they
Like
say, like,
filler.
if you say I'm sorry and there's no change behavior, then
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
really not.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
show them. And I think taking accountability and saying, I messed up, that was not my intention, but
Mhm.
also showing that you're
No.
doing what it takes to make it right.
Yeah.
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 What you
So
think?
yeah, that is so true, Tasia. So I would think about even like my parents. So they got divorced when I was in my first year of college. And one thing I felt, I was upset with my dad for a long time. I just felt like he didn't understand, like just certain things that I was going through. And then he got married like quickly. And then it hurt because I felt like he had like a whole nother family. And then we have my brother and I just here. And then it's like for me, I'm a daddy's girl. I'm his first and only girl. So so then I'm just like, wow, like I just felt like so after years passed, what he did was he realized some things. And when he came, and I remember him coming to my house, he sat with me, he spoke to me. And when he did that, that helped me to understand what he was going through.
Mhm.
And, you know, so then he started to understand what I was going through as well, or and my brother as well. But what really stood out to me is that, yes, like he had that moment, but he continues still to make sure that he's consistent on keeping our relationship good. So so that's something that I would say to that person too. Like just like Tasia said, like you have to be consistent with it. Like talk to whoever it is, but be consistent
Yeah.
on it, and
And take
don't
accountability.
take
Say,
accountability
I
for it.
know that I hurt you. That
Yeah.
was not my intention. This is what this is what I was going through.
Hmm.
And just having that communication, like, I think most people can respect that. Like, you're acknowledging that you hurt me in some way,
Yes.
because that is so hard for some people to do. Like, another word we see a lot is like narcissism, right? Like,
Mhm.
where people are just so emotionally cut off, just so into themselves that they can't even see how the things
Much.
that they
Yeah.
do hurt other people. So that's big for that person to say, like, I know that I did that, but that wasn't my intention. And
Yeah.
try to make it right. And again, like we talked about earlier, that person may not be ready to accept your apology.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that. But it's like letting you know that when you're ready, like, this is like what I want.
What you want. Yeah.
See, I'm so happy that worked out for y'all though. In that manner, because it's like to know that again, you're a daddy's girl, but your dad was like, "Let me make this right with my baby."
Mhm.
Cuz you don't it's like anything. You don't want to have somebody on the bad side like
Yeah.
at all, you know? And it causes
Hmm.
too much friction, the bad energy, all of that
Yeah.
will come with it.
Yeah.
So,
And
um
sometimes, we don't know, like when we look at our parents' relationships, like what was going on. Like, now that you're an adult, you can probably look back and say, like, well, I'm glad they separated if they weren't happy,
right.
you know? But when you're a kid and it's like, what? Like, that is what? Like, but it's again like teaching your kids, when a situation is not good for you, it doesn't make you happy, like, you have to make a change. And that's what they learn. Like, we also can see the flip side of that, where people stay in unhealthy situations, and that impacts their kids in a negative way. And
Yeah.
it's like, it goes either way. So I would rather it be, I'm mad at you, I don't like that, but at least he came and said,
And said it. Right, right.
like, I'm sorry, this is what was like going on,
Yeah.
and how can I like make it right.
Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, this is great, you guys. Like, I don't know, T. We may have to move to Sunday. No, I'm joking. Listen, Tasia, you have been amazing. Everyone that's been watching and chiming in, you guys have been amazing. Uh, I don't even know how to like. How do you end a show like this? Like, talk for hours, but I know, we
Thank
can't, but nonetheless, I would love for you to at least tell us where everyone can follow you again. I'll have her information for anyone that may be looking, or just put it out there, and you guys
Yes.
feel free to reach out. But if you have social media handles, or again any direct line that you may want them to reach you out on, by all means, share
So
your
you
plugs, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys can find information about the practice at www.tmrmentalhealthcare.com. So like I said, right now, like, I'm like totally booked, but I have an amazing team. There's someone for everyone at TMR. We've got every language covered. Korean, Spanish, Hindi, what else? Someone speaks Farsi, someone,
you.
uh, what else? Serbian,
Girl, you are
everything,
completely
everything.
strapped. She's strapped, T.
Make sure.
So there's someone for everyone. I have therapists of all different ages, ethnicities, from, there's someone for everyone at our practice. That was also very important to me too, because, having people that look like us, and
Mhm.
also that makes people more comfortable.
Yes.
as well. So that's TMR Mental Health Care. We are located in Bergen County, in Hackensack is our main office. Right now we offer remote sessions. We're licensed in New York and New Jersey. So no matter where you live, as long as your insurance covers like remote
Mhm.
sessions or telehealth, like we can see you. So that's been good in the pandemic because before people wouldn't have access to me if they lived like where you guys live, but now
Yeah.
we can just hop on Zoom and it's all good.
And it's
Yeah.
probably even more comfortable and comforting for them just to know they can
Yeah.
jump on Zoom in their PJs or something.
Yeah. Yep. So that's tmrmentalhealthcare.com. Our number is 201-678-1802 if they prefer to call. Social media at TMR Talk Therapy or at TMR Mental Health Care. I had to lock down all of them, you know. And one day I said we're gonna be like famous and I don't want nobody stealing our names.
Hey, you have to sometimes. You have to.
Yeah. And then my page is Talk Therapy with Tasia. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Got
that's me directly. Yeah, I think that's it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a question too, T?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
I had one quick question. Do you by chance have Black male therapists?
Yes, so actually no, let me tell you. Like finding I had one, he's no longer with our practice, but finding a black male therapist is like finding a unicorn. Honestly,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am interviewing someone this week actually. I'm excited about that. But we do have like black females.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the males are hard.
Feels
It's
hard.
it's difficult. Like
Yeah.
the ones who are like doing this work, like they're like busy, you know.
They probably got real busy since quarantine last year started.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I'm all about for me quality. Like I gotta have the right people on my team. So
Absolutely.
if y'all know one or one is watching, call me.
Right.
Send me your resume.
Calling y'all out. Black
Yeah.
therapists, male are you are needed.
Yes,
Fill them.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But Tasia, you have been a pleasure. We both, I know I can speak for us both. We enjoyed you. This has been an awesome self-care Sunday.
Mhm.
In the night,
And
yeah.
yeah, and again, as you guys, like I mentioned, she was there with us for our event last week. But thankfully, we're able to have her here again today to speak with her, have these questions that you guys all took the courage and had the, the strength to write down. We thank you, and again, hope that everybody was able to get something from this, and if not, continue to reach out to her. Again, maybe she can direct you in the right direction if it's not for her. Or T and I could try and help you if you hit us up on a Monday.
Uh-huh.
So thank you
Great.
all. Love to all of you. And yeah, I guess we will check you out soon.
Everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.